We all know that money has power. We see this power, feel it, obey it, and use it to our advantage from time to time. But do we understand what the power of money is, how to acquire it, and how to manage it wisely to get the maximum benefit from it? I don't think so. Or rather, not everyone understands this. But you must admit, it is very important to understand this. Of course, we all know that the more money we have, the wider our opportunities will be, the more we will be able to afford. But in order to use the power of money as effectively as possible, it is necessary to understand its essence, and not just have a lot of money. After all, not all rich people skillfully use their money, so they often lose it, and along with it their status in society, and in some cases their lives. It follows that understanding the power of money is also necessary to protect yourself from this power, or rather from those people who use this power against you. After all, the power of money is both a good and an evil force at the same time, depending on who, how, and in what situation it is used. So I suggest you learn everything you need to know about the power of money in order to subjugate this power and learn how to manage it wisely. What is the power of money? To understand what the power of money is, you need to pay attention to how people behave with it. If you were offered $1 million and told that you needed to, say, clean a toilet, would you do it? I think you would. Most people would agree to this deal in any case. And why would you do it? Why would other people do it? Because the money that you are offered for this, albeit unpleasant, but still quite easy work, is a lot of money. You can really buy a lot with it. But if you were offered the same amount of money during hyperinflation, when today you can buy a lot of things for $1 million, and tomorrow you can only buy a loaf of bread with it, you most likely would not do anything for it if you were not sure that you could spend it. Do you understand what the point is? The power of money lies in its purchasing power. That's one side. There are other sides, and I'll talk about them below. So, friends, your money is valuable to you only because you can use it to buy everything you need. So the power of money is provided by its purchasing power. And the purchasing power of money is provided by the rules and laws by which it works. If, say, zeros are cut off from money every 2 or 3 years, or completely replaced with new ones, simultaneously devaluing its value, then the value of this money will decrease significantly. It cannot be trusted, it cannot be relied on in the long term. You will not be able to save such money, for example, for old age, for your children's education, for housing, or even for a rainy day. The purchasing power of money must be stable. Then such money will be popular with people. That is, people will believe in the money that they can not only exchange for something, immediately after they earn it, but also which they can save. After all, we know that small money can become big if you save it. And in order to save it, it must not depreciate. This belief in the value of money is what gives it power. After all, believing in the value of money, people agree to work for it, people agree to exchange various values for this money, people are generally ready to do a lot for it, because they know that the money they earn will benefit them. Money is an idea that people believe in and trust, and the actions that people are ready to perform, guided by this idea, are a manifestation of its power, that is, this is a manifestation of the power of money. Thus, ideological power, through the physical actions of people, turns into physical power. But this concerns the ideological background. There is another component of the power of money. It consists of physical power, expressed in the punishment provided by law for refusing to use the money of this or that issuer, that is, the producer of money. For example, you live in a country that prints money, and this money depreciates annually, well, let's say, by half. Do you want to work for this kind of money? Do you want to sell something for it, especially when there is a more reliable, more stable currency as an alternative? Probably not. Why would you work for paper that depreciates constantly? Because if it depreciates, it means that you are simply being robbed, depreciating your labor, and speaking even more specifically, forcing you to work for free. And this is real slavery. But if you refuse to work for this money, if you demand to be paid in another currency, then you will simply be punished, according to the law. That is, physical force will be used against you. You will be thrown into a cage, like a real criminal, just because you do not want to deal with low-quality, false money through which you are robbed. This, as it is called, legitimate physical force, also provides money with force. That is, it turns out that the power and authority of money is provided not only by the benefits we receive from using it, but also by physical force, with the help of which money producers punish those who refuse to use their money. So if in the first case the idea of money was used to control physical force, then in the second case, physical force is used to support the idea of money. The carrot and the stick are the two main incentives. Faith in money and the imposition of money by force are two sides of the same coin, called the power of money. How to control the power of money? Any force in this world can be controlled. You see, any. The power of money is no exception. And in order to control it, to use it in your interests, you need to have it. Of course, the first thing that comes to mind in this case is a large amount of money. The more money a person has, the more power he seems to have. This is really true, and we see how rich people buy everything and everyone, and thus achieve their goals. But everything would be too simple if the power of money was limited solely to its quantity, if the rich and the poor differed from each other only in that some have a lot of money and others have little. We would not then be talking about this topic, but would immediately think about how to earn more money. In reality, we see that money appears in large quantities to some people and does not appear to others, by no means, by pure chance. And you can control the power of money even in cases when you have little money or none at all. How exactly to do this? You need to turn to what the power of money consists of, that is, to the basis that I wrote about above. People obey money because they believe in its value and because they are afraid to disobey it. This means that if you deprive them of faith in money or scare them, then the power of your suggestion will force these people to obey you. If people believe in the value of money, then they can be convinced of the pricelessness of this money, or even of its harmfulness. And if people are afraid of not submitting to money, then they can be instilled with fear of submitting to it, and most importantly, you can always convince people to part with money, either through fear or through greed. Which is what many cunning people take advantage of. Thus, through skillful suggestions, love for money can be replaced by hatred for it. There was a famous psychologist, Sigmund Freud, you have probably heard of him, who told people at his seminars that money is feces, and therefore you should not hold on to it too much. In this way, he achieved that people easily parted with their money, attending his seminars. Another example is donations, be it in a church or anywhere else. In such cases, people are convinced of the need to donate money to a good cause, for example, to children, as Ostap Bender did in 12 Chairs, or to help those in need, and so on. And here you go, many people part with their money easily and simply. Greed also contributes to people parting with their money. Remember the numerous pyramid scams of the 90s, all these Copper Invest, Vlastolini, Russian houses selling GA and many others, they all caught, and some of them, having changed their name, continue to catch people today on greed, pulling money out of their pockets. And what is interesting, but quite understandable, attracting money in this way is practically not punishable by law. Do you know why? Because no one needs you to protect your interests. Such troughs feed many. That is why they were, are, and will be. Of course, we are all a little suckers, because we want to believe in things that do not exist in nature. For example, that someone can greatly increase our money so that we become rich. But the essence of all these methods of taking money from people also says that the power of money originates from the beliefs that a person holds and on which his faith in the value of money is based. Therefore, by controlling these beliefs, we can control the power of money, or rather, the people through whom this power is materialized. It does not matter whether a person is ready to do something because of the fear of losing something or because of the desire to get something. The main thing is that he is controlled by his instincts, desires, beliefs, which we can influence not by any money at all. Therefore, it is not at all necessary to act on people only through money. You can influence them in many other ways. And if you control people with the help of your beliefs, you have the same power as you would have if you had money and bought both the people themselves and the result of their work with it. Everything that people are ready to pay money for is an instrument of influence and impact on them. Master these instruments if you want to subjugate the power of money without having it. What is stronger than money actually? From the above, we can already conclude that there are forces that are stronger than money. And in particular, these are faith, convictions, ideology, as well as greed and fear. But in order to understand why all these things are stronger than money, you must understand what a person lives for. A person does not live for money, he does not need it at all. A person needs those things that he can buy for money, so if you instill in him that there are other ways to get everything he needs, then this suggestion can become a great force. At the same time, it can be real. That is, we are not talking about deceiving people. We are talking about developing a new concept of resource distribution that excludes the presence of money in society, or at least the presence of false money in it, constantly depreciating. Or take the same loan that drives people into debt, you can replace it with something more fair and honest. The world of money is harsh and unfair, you have to be a cunning beast in it to live well, and not just work hard and hard. Therefore, the power of the rich is based mainly on lies and violence, and not on hard work. There are many people who work until they sweat, but there are few rich people, and they are rich not only because of their abilities, but also at the expense of other people, at the expense of the poor, whom they deceive and pressure. In addition, we must understand that not everyone can be rich. Moreover, only a few who know how to live at the expense of others have always been and will be very rich. On a planet with limited resources, it cannot be otherwise. Therefore, desperate people who do not see the point in fighting for money using well-known methods will easily accept any other idea for arranging society, more just, more humane, more beautiful and promising at least in theory. And therefore, they will be ready to serve this idea, and not the money that they are always short of. And the more such people there are, the stronger the power will be that will be received by the one to whom these people will obey. Money, or rather the laws by which it operates today, have long since discredited themselves. People do not want to live by rules that provide an insignificant minority with everything their hearts desire, while forcing the majority to work all day long to provide themselves with the bare minimum necessary for life. Therefore, people with ideas may well counter the idea of money with some new idea, not just to extract money from people, but to actually change the world. If the idea turns out to be worthy and is actively implemented in society, people will support it. But we must be prepared for tough resistance from those who hold big money and power. They will not part with this power so easily. Another foreseeing greed, avarice, vanity, hypocrisy, cynicism, venality, and other negative qualities of a person that manifest in him because of money. It is easy to blame money for spoiling a person. It is easy to say that the power of money is an evil force. But if we talk like that, we will deceive other people, and if we start believing it, we will start deceiving ourselves. Money is neither an evil nor a good force, it is simply a force. Whether it will be good or evil depends on the person who controls this force. Any sane person understands this. We do not always understand another thing: what force can replace the force of money if someone does not offer something better. And it can be replaced by the force of weapons, the force of aggression, the force of tyranny and despotism, the force of suppression and cruelty. Money is a carrot, and brute physical force is a whip. It is with the help of the carrot and the stick that we can control people. And if we refuse the carrot, then either we will have to look for a replacement for it, in the form of another carrot, that is, in the form of a new idea, more just and honest, which I wrote about above, or we will have to turn to the whip. What is better, an unbridled desire for money, or violence and slavery in its primitive form? The answer, in my opinion, is obvious. Think about it: is it so bad to live in a world of money, where the power of money rules society more or less humanely? Yes, this power is difficult to acquire, but it is not impossible. Would it be better if the world began to be ruled by a tarpaulin boot and a machine gun? Well, think for yourself. What else can motivate people to work, to the need to behave in a civilized manner, and not like barbarians? Perhaps such concepts as conscience, reason, responsibility, honesty and decency, as well as respect and recognition, could partly replace money, and in fact, in some places, some people are motivated and stimulated by these very things. But let's be realistic. Firstly, the highest human qualities are not inherent in many, and they are very difficult to cultivate in a person. And secondly, there is such work in this world that you will not do for free. People won't go down into mines and mine coal, or toil away all day at a factory if they have to, if fear of hunger and cold doesn't make them do it. That's why we need money, since we haven't come up with anything better yet. Maybe, of course, living for the sake of money is not the best life, but it's not the worst either. So for now, the great power of money is doing its job. It controls people. Our entire civilization rests on this power. And you and I know for sure that the power of money is definitely better than physical force, better than a machine gun and barbed wire, because it opens up many more opportunities for people, allowing them to realize themselves, not through aggression and cruelty, but through their creative qualities. I believe that for this alone, the power of money should be respected. But we also need to strive for something even better and more perfect. Someday, I am sure, a new force will appear, more just, more honest, more powerful, which will make our life even better, even more civilized and humane. But for now, let us learn to use what we have, the power of money.